What's up guys, my name is Ace, and I believe it was yesterday, Infinity Ward posted a bunch of brand new 4K gameplay that's on a slightly newer build than the build that we had access to when I was flown out to LA to play this game early. Now I know I'm a little bit behind on this. I have been flying back to Norway, so I'm back in Norway now, a little bit jet lagged still, so we're just going to get through this video as quickly as possible. Today I wanted to go over all of the things that I noticed that are either new or have changed with this build of the game that they showed off, which keep in mind, the build that they showed off, it's a little bit closer to what we will see in the beta, although it is not 100% what we will see. This was confirmed on Reddit that the beta build of the game will be a more current version than the one you see here. So the first thing you'll notice in this newer build of the game is they do have the teammate outlines. So what this means is you can actually see your teammates through walls. And they will be outlined, although in this build that they showed off in the gameplay, the outlines are very faint, and in a lot of cases they're extremely hard to see. Like unless you're in a super dark area or you're facing something super dark like this barricade here, it's really difficult to see that. This was brought up on Reddit and the devs responded, and they did say that they have been tweaking the opacity of that a little bit, and it will be brighter than that in the beta build of the game. So these outlines were not visible in the build that we played back in LA, and in some ways they are supposed to be kind of the replacement for the minimap. Although I still do think it's a bit of a weird replacement, especially when they're going for realism and immersion. I feel it's actually less immersive to see people through walls than it is to have a little heads-up display element up in the corner. But that's just me. I am interested to see if that improves the gameplay a little bit, because when we were playing at LA, it was very difficult to see exactly where your teammates were. Yes, they would have that little blue triangle above your head, but it didn't give you any perspective as to the distance that your teammates were. They could be all the way across the map, or they could be right on the other side of a wall from you, and you wouldn't know. So these outlines should help in that area. But again, I am interested to see what the feedback will be on this throughout the beta. I really don't feel this is a proper replacement to the minimap, since you can only see your teammates in your field of view, which is quite limited on console at, I believe, 67. It's a very limited field of view, so anytime your teammates are out of your field of view, you don't really know what they're doing, where they're looking, which lanes they have covered. And that's why I feel it's not really a proper replacement, but at least it will help. And I am open to giving this a shot, and we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you from this gameplay that we didn't have access to in the build that we played, this is 2 new executions, as well as that sort of default execution that we did see in the gameplay when we played at LA. This is the default execution, so when you sneak up behind somebody, you can activate this, and it will be a one-hit kill on them, although you do have to play through the animation, and I believe you'll be vulnerable as you do this. But that's the default one, which we have seen before. Next, we have this one with the machete, which is absolutely insane. It looks so gruesome. I really like the looks of that. It looks really cool. And then finally have one with an axe here, which is also pretty crazy. And that just opens up a lot of opportunities. I think we're going to see plenty of different executions added throughout the year. And that's pretty exciting. I really like the idea of these executions. I just hope they remain consistent in their animation time. That's something that could definitely end up throwing off gameplay balance a little bit. Next up in the gameplay that we saw, there were actually several guns that we didn't have access to in the build that we played, so let's just go through those. First off, we have the AKS-74U SMG, which is likely just the conversion kit that you can put on the AK-47, so it's probably not a separate gun in the SMG category. It's most likely just that conversion kit you put on in the gunsmith, but it effectively creates a brand new gun. Additionally, we saw some gameplay with what appears to be an RPK, which again is probably the same sort of thing. You put a conversion kit on the AK-47, which effectively converts it into an LMG. After that, we saw the Odin a little bit, which we had seen a little bit in the 2v2 gunplay that we saw a while back. And this is that bullpup with an insane damage. It dealt like 62 damage in that 2v2 gameplay, so it's a 2-shot kill, but it's a slow-firing, full-auto gun. This could be in the marksman rifle category, or it could end up being assault rifle. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we did get to see some gameplay with the Odin there. Next, something that we didn't actually see gameplay of, but we did see the character run over top of this. This is an FAL, even though it doesn't show the text for that. There was a little bit of a bug that was hiding some of the names for some things, even things that were known, so it doesn't look like it was intentional. But you can see here that is clearly an FN FAL, which also was revealed by, I believe, Game Informer a while back, alongside several other guns that, again, we didn't see within this gameplay and we didn't have access to in the build that we played in LA. But I did want to just cover those quickly for you guys. It doesn't really warrant making an entire video about, so I'll just include them here. These guns include the P90, which I actually did have access to the P90 in the build that I played way back in May at the Infinity Ward studio. Also with Game Informer, we saw the Kar 98K as a marksman rifle, We saw the HDR, which was that sniper rifle we did see in the 2v2 gunfight gameplay, but we didn't have a name on it. That one is called the HDR. We also saw the Dragunov. We saw the X16, which appears to be a Glock, and also the R90 and the Origin 12 shotguns. So now in total, we're looking at roughly 30 guns that are already in the game, and this isn't even all of them. This isn't going to be all of the guns that we see in the full build of the game, and we've already got about 30 of them, which is amazing to see. But next up, we also saw a new Killstreak. Although we didn't see proper gameplay with it, we didn't really get to see it in action. This is a Killstreak that we didn't have access to and we didn't see in the menus in the build that we played. And this appears to be a mountable gun. So it's not quite a sentry turret, so you don't just put it down and it automatically shoot things. From the looks of it, it's something you actually place and then you mount yourself on this gun. And I'm assuming it'll be very powerful and very accurate, so you can pick people off and lock down a lane really effectively. Next up in this gameplay, they have added quite a few assets when it comes to dialogue, and they actually have a proper announcer when he earns streaks and everything like that, which in the build that we played back in LA, that was still very rough, and in a lot of cases, there was no announcer if you had earned something. So it seems like they definitely made progress in that area as well, and this is what it sounds like.
Juggernaut ready to deploy.
And this just leaves us with one last thing that I noticed in this gameplay that we haven't seen before. This is the rank up animation. In the build that we played, we were all ranked up already, so you couldn't actually level anything up. Everything was already unlocked for us. But in this gameplay, you can see the player actually rank up, and you can hear a little bit of a sound, which I'll play right here for you guys. And I think that sounds pretty cool. We didn't actually get to hear the full sound because in the gameplay, they actually cut away to the next gameplay before that sound finished playing, but it does sound pretty cool, and that's what happens when you rank up, at least in this build of the game. That, of course, could change by launch. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's video on the gameplay changes that I noticed with the build of the game that they showed off yesterday, which, like I said, is going to be a bit closer to the beta build, but they're still not 100% there yet, and we will likely see some more changes when the beta actually comes around. Of course, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what are you guys thinking about these little changes and additions that we've seen with this gameplay? Does it make you more excited for the game, less excited? Just let me know those thoughts and why. Now, just for the algorithm, I am going to let the gameplay play out to just over 10 minutes. I'm not even adding any mid-rolls, so if you're saying I'm a money whore for doing this, I'm not going to put any mid-roll ads. Legitimately, the YouTube algorithm just prefers those 10-minute videos, and you guys might be interested in seeing a little bit more of this raw gameplay. If not, feel free to leave now. So with that, I'm going to leave it there. If you enjoyed it, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Stay sharp for the next one. EMP in play. Defend the data center. We've got a UAV on station, ready for fire. Hostile planted an EMP on our data center. Very low. Wilson ready to roll out. That's it, lads. On to the next round. Get ready.